Okay, it's taking just a sec and it will be ready here. There we go. Test, test, test. Yep. All right. All right. Good evening again, everyone. Sorry for that delay. So, their recording is done. This is our rough schedule. We're going to go through volunteer and member announcements, current news and rumors, and tech Q&A. I have one question here. You guys, if you are interested in asking questions during tech Q&A, you can put it in the chat window, or you can raise your hand on participants when we get to it. And then we're going to try to get into Pete a little early. So hopefully at 7:45 or so we can get Pete in. He's going to talk about Apple One, which is really, really pretty cool. And then we will have our normal virtual raffle at the end. So first and foremost, are there any member announcements or volunteer announcements? We'll go back to gallery view. Anybody have anything?
I'll welcome many new members.
Thank you, Donovan.
And if there are any, we're glad you're here, and remind people it's very easy to watch our general meeting now.
And you can meet them by the center post.
And you'll meet him back at the, during the break, you'll meet him at the back of the room, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other member announcements, volunteer announcements? You can unmute yourself. Otherwise, we can move on. Okay. Let's get back to Zoom. Boy, I'm ham-fisted tonight. All righty. So, as far as current news and rumors, the rumors became the news, and that was just about, last week, tomorrow, I think. So, Apple had their Spring Forward event, and we're just going to go through a quick synopsis of the products, and there'll be plenty of time for question and answers on that, because there's a lot of new and exciting things. It was pretty overwhelming. And I should mention, Apple just released their quarterly earnings report this afternoon, and absolute huge record. They beat Wall Street expectations by a ton. And even though a lot of the tech companies are having trouble getting chips, Apple was able to sell more of everything than they have ever. So I think they ended up netting $23 billion this last quarter. So just putting more of that in the bank. So first thing that happened on the Spring Forward event is they introduced a new iPhone 12 in purple or lavender. And it was really if you get a chance, watch the keynote, because the graphics they did to introduce this thing was incredible. So it's the iPhone 12, and it's just in a new color. So this event was very, very colorful, and you'll see in some of the other products. So it's a new color added to the new green and the new blue, and then the current silver or white and the space gray and the red. So just a new 12 color, no real difference in the product. Pete, you have anything for that?
Sorry, Ken. My girls are very impressed. Three girls were clamoring for this color, so it got the millennials' attention. That's for sure.
Oh, that's great. It's a beautiful color. It really is. It should have come out a little bit before that for Easter, though, because I think it and the green would have been great for Easter. But anyway, so then. And again, you got to watch the keynote. It's wonderful. So we've all had the Find. It used to be called Find My iPhone, then it was Find My, and now it's just Find My. And coupled with that is the brand new. Well, first of all, the biggest thing is privacy. Apple is constantly upping the bar on privacy and security. So when we talk about the AirTags, which is the new device, it really is set to be very private and very secure. So AirTag or AirTags were introduced, and they're these little discs. In fact, they're just a little bit bigger than the battery that's in them, the good old same battery that you use in some garage door openers or in key fobs and things like that. It's a good old standard 2032 battery, and they think that the battery life on these AirTags will be about a year. So they do make it so you can't sneak on somebody, so you can't slip an AirTag into somebody else's backpack or in their car and track them and stalk them and all that, because there's some safeguards for that. And the identifiers, the beauty of the AirTag is, let's say you're in an airport and you happen to leave a bag somewhere by one of the gates. Well, once you get out of Bluetooth range, you're lost. That AirTag is not being able to be picked up, except it can ping off other Apple devices and in fact even Android devices, and it's all anonymous, and it essentially connects to the internet and then gets back, and you know where the location is. So there's a little video that I'll show you in a second, but it's amazing, and it's part of the new ultra wide technology, and it's fantastic. Functionality, Pete, go ahead and give some input.
Yeah, the real magic of these is, I mean, obviously the Bluetooth is limited. So at about 30 yards, you lose the local connection to the AirTag. So at face value, this wouldn't be a very, very valuable proposition, because if something's more than 30 yards away from me, it would basically render the AirTag useless. Let's say I put it on my backpack and then I left my backpack on the train. And then if I couldn't find my backpack, I could look at the AirTag app or the Find My app to find it. But if I was outside of 30 yards, then I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to spot it. But what Apple has done is created, I'm just going to keep it simple. They have a lot of marketing speak and stuff that makes it sound fancy that we'll see here in a minute. But they've basically created a mesh network of iPhones that can detect these tags. So if a stranger goes near the tag and you have marked it as lost, well, now the stranger gets a pop-up on their screen that says, this bag belongs to this phone number. Would you please call them and let them know it's been found? That's where the real magic happens, is because if you think about how many people are carrying an iOS device in their pocket, it's a lot. It's a lot of people. So when you think about that coverage, like imagine people with an iOS device in their pocket is like a net. How far would that net reach? I think it's worldwide. I think this net is global of iPhones in pockets. Now, what Apple's done is anonymously taken advantage of that net, and that grid or that net that stretches across the globe will ping whoever's near your AirTag. So the use case is somebody goes near your backpack after you've left it on the train and you've marked it lost in the Find My app. The AirTag will then notify somebody nearby with an iPhone, and then they have the option to call you or not, but they have the option to call. I think it'll revolutionize getting belongings back to the people who lost them among honest people. Now, among dishonest people, it won't matter. They'll just throw the AirTag away and take the belongings. But I really think people will be reunited with their lost belongings way, way more now with these AirTags. I ordered 4 of them, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to put them on. But my dog's collar is one of them. But yeah, that's a bit about the functionality, trying to simplify it a little bit. It's of course way more complex than that, but it's a simple side.
And Pete, with the other person going by your bag, doesn't it also then locate it so you're able to see where your bag is, correct?
I'm not perfectly clear on that. I think it's until the person contacts you. You can't see the location until they contact you, but I was a bit surprised that that wasn't more of an obvious feature of this, that you could look and see where it was even if nobody had found it. But I don't think that's the case. If somebody does stumble upon it, they must interact with the notification in order for you to be notified.
Well, you know how the iPhone will do, so like, or an iPad, it will broadcast last recognized location. So I thought it would be leveraging the phone and pinging and saying, okay, I'm here, and that reports to the home base. But I could be wrong on that. I just assumed that.
That was my assumption too, but after looking into it a little bit, it appears as though Apple won't automatically piggyback on that net, right? They want people to, I guess you could call it opt in. They want people to participate willingly by saying, yes, I would like to reveal the location of this or whatever when they interact. Now, it could be wrong. It's still very early and I don't own one yet, but I was a bit surprised to see that it wouldn't automatically just piggyback on the mesh and just tell you where the pin is on the map.
And some people will find out because they're due to arrive to some people on the 30th. Mm-hmm. So if you got up early and you ordered early, I ordered a 4-pack also, and I actually had mine engraved. I don't usually engrave stuff, but my thought was is that way I can easily identify which one. So I just put number 1 through my name, actually, my first name, and a number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I link them to my phone, I can look at the one and know which one it is. So great.
Yeah, for those who are going to order, you may even want to have your phone number engraved on it. I mean, it
won't let you. It's 4 characters max.
Oh, yeah. I did emojis, so
there's emojis, and then if you do numbers or letters, it's 4 are the max.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Because I tried to do it, but no. So, all right. So this is a little thing they showed during the presentation, and it's a pretty typical scenario for the use of AirTags.
Jeez.
This is AirTag. The next time the couch eats your keys, AirTag will help find them. AirTag.
So the thing here is it gives out an audible alert, which is pretty amazing also. You can activate it and it will beep, and you kind of like you do for your watch can do for your phone now. So these are the Apple accessories for them, because realistically, you're going to need something to hold the AirTag in. They didn't come with a hole in them with a loop or anything like that. So there are these silicone holders, there's some leather ones, etc. And of course that spawns a lot of the aftermarket. I know Spigen, Caseology, a lot of those have some aftermarket ones also. And the AirTag, $29 for a single, and a 4-pack is $99. And I really think that this is, Apple, I think they hit it out of the park with their pricing on this, because that's very, very reasonable. And these things last a long time, and it could be finding you something that's much more valuable than the $25 you spent on the AirTag. Here's some of the emojis you can see. There's some initials. Those are the engravings on them. And on the engravings, you can have it be a lighter color or a darker color. They kind of have a circle. This is the so in the lower left, over a year of battery life. The battery is very easily replaceable, and that's one of the most common wafer batteries that there is. Unwanted tracking alerts. You can NFC tap on a lost mode. Water resistant, IP67, which is quite good. And it does have the little built-in speaker in it also. So, it's pretty awesome. And you can see on the phone in the upper right, the directional arrow, because of the ultra wideband chip in there, will actually give you direction. So, anything else, Pete, that you'd like to add?
Well, there was a question that popped up in chat. Roy asked, what's the difference kind of between this and tile? I would say the biggest difference is that upper right-hand corner right there, that green screen with the arrow. Because of the ultra wideband in the chip, this will actually give you pinpoint directions to the item if you're within 30 yards. So we're talking about, and if you watch some of the videos Al's linked to here in the chat, you'll see some live examples of it, but it really does guide you step by step to where the item is. Now, I have some tiles too, and it basically gives you vicinity, or kind of a sloppy vicinity based on Wi-Fi proximity. But with the wideband chip in here, it actually gives you like step-by-step directions on where it's going to be. So that's where I think the big differentiator is going to be between this and existing products.
It's kind of like that, hotter, hotter, colder, colder game we used to play when you would blindfold someone.
Go through the first one via email invitation. Once you receive an email invitation for a Zoom meeting,
I also think that the tiles, those batteries cannot be changed.
The original one didn't have a replaceable battery. I believe the new ones do, right, Pete?
Yeah, replaceable battery and a thinner, I think it was a thinner chassis. But I haven't owned a tile since the first gen. I backed the Kickstarter back then. But yeah, I haven't owned one since.
And Matthew, you have your hand up. Go right ahead.
You're talking about the price. One gotcha is if you look at the pricing on their little keychains and all that, you're essentially doubling the price.
You can buy it from anywhere, though. I have some.
Well, you could, but I mean, if you want to stick with all the Apple stuff, that's one little thing they didn't quite mention that you got to watch out for.
Well, that Apple,
because as you said, you can't just carry the thing around with like a coin. That's not gonna work.
You can. I'm gonna slip one.
Well, right, and then you're gonna lose it. It needs to be into something to be attached to something.
Well, what I'll do is slip it in the pocket of my backpack. I mean,
and that's like the joke where you can't find the other thing that went into the backpack, and that's gonna get lost. You really need. So they're being a little sneaky there, I gotta say.
Well, I totally disagree, because it can be done. I mean, first of all, in the aftermarket ones, I have some coming from Amazon that I got for $4 each, and they're silicon. They do the same thing, and it really leaves it open for the aftermarket people to do some interesting thing. There's one company that put it in a self-adhesive thing, so you can stick it to the outside of something and it's protected. So, it's that's like saying that the watch was a way to sell watch bands. Well, in fact, it is. But
it is.
But that gives people they have that option, and you don't have to use the Apple. It's not proprietary, and the fact that it's a replaceable battery with an off-the-shelf battery, to me, that makes up for every bit of the fact that they're charging a premium for these devices. And you have to remember that they're not the only ones selling the Apple accessories. Those have to be sold at retail, so they have to build in some sort of margin for the retailer. So, and just don't buy them. And then if you really want to get wild, for over $300, you can get the Hermes leather holders, because that will, of course, make the AirTag work even better. And it does have, you'll notice it's etched on there that it does have the Hermes logo or name in that. So that's just for that AirTag. But anyway. It's got the same functionality as the others, but who knows? And you know, there'll be knockoffs of these right away. So the next thing was kind of an update, the Apple TV 4K, and probably the two features that I thought were really, really impressive is they finally have a new remote. The remote, you'll know which end is up and which end is down on that, unlike the previous ones. The Siri button is on the right hand side instead of a flush button in there, and there's some swiping. You can do to scrub through video, you can go around that. And then the other thing is you can actually use an app on your iPhone, and this applies to the current 4K Apple TVs. You can color correct your screen, and that's pretty amazing that it can do that, because there's expensive devices that do color correction. Now, it's yet to be seen how accurate that color correction will be, but pretty darn amazing. And Pete, what's your take?
Yeah, I did the color correction, and I didn't see a difference. But then again, my TV is already probably pretty well calibrated. This was probably my favorite update. I really salivate for Apple TV updates because next to my phone, it's my most used Apple device is my Apple TV. We don't have any other means of watching anything. All the TVs in the house are Apple TV only. This is what we do. So this update was really exciting for me. I wish there was a little bit more to it. I don't want to say I'm let down, but I was hoping when Apple TV did re-roll, because I think it's been 5 or 6 years since the last revision to Apple TV. So I really felt like when it did re-roll, could have been, I don't know, spectacular. Maybe a drone could pop out of it and fly around the house with a camera on it or something. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know exactly what I was expecting. But I like it. I'll be first in line tomorrow morning to order one and try it out, and I'm looking forward to it. The remote, I really hope the remote is an improvement. It looks like it should be. The click wheel is back. I'm excited about that. You all remember the click wheel from the first iPod, right? That little ring that you could just
From the second iPod.
Oh, the first one was click buttons, and then we had the click wheel. But that's pretty cool that that's back, especially to fast forward. One of my biggest complaints with the current Apple TV, if you have the one with the glass touchpad on the remote, which is the previous generation to this, it's the one thing you'd probably want to do the most while watching television, which is jump ahead for 10 seconds. It's maddening on the current remote. Absolutely maddening. So I was really encouraged to see the click wheel back and to have the ability to roll through video with your speed determining how fast you go. So if I use my thumb to roll around that ring very quickly, then I'll move through the video very quickly. Or if I do it slowly, I'll move through slowly. To me, that's a huge improvement. If you're an always Apple TV user like I am, these things will be exciting for you. But if you're not, there's not a ton more compelling stuff here for you to jump in. Like if you don't own an Apple TV yet, I don't really see anything here that would, that would be the reason why you'd now buy, because it's very similar to what we had before. But improvements for those who rely on it like I do. I'm excited.
And just a little tip, those of you that aren't aware, if you do want to skip forward 30 seconds, you just can do that with Siri. You can say skip forward 3 minutes or whatever, and it will do it. Another thing is a feature, because as our hearing gets not as good as we get older, many times, and of course the way they cut these movies these days and TV shows, they really do a bad job of having the sound in the background overwhelm who's trying to speak. You can always say in Siri, what did they say? It will skip back 10 seconds. It will turn on closed captioning for those 10 seconds, and it will replay what you said. So those are little Apple TV tips for everybody. So, all right. Pete, didn't they say, is this the same chip or was it a new chip?
An A12. The A12, yeah. I think it's the same. I think there was some disappointment that the U1 chip wasn't going to be in here because then
Right.
you'd be able to have proximity and stuff. But yeah, it's the same. I don't think it's the same chip. I think it's the A series. It's the latest A series chip. But yeah, it's not the new ultra wideband or the M chip.
Right. And Al, you have any input?
No, I agree with. I was really looking forward to having this new remote. That's, to me, it's kind of one of the shortcomings of the Apple TV was a remote. I wound up having to buy a case. They have this little silver plastic one things that you can get after the market that you can get that changes the tactile nature of it, and it also comes with a little lanyard and stuff, so it makes it a little bit easier not to be lost and stuff. I do like the location of the Siri button on it being moved to the side, because I'm always accidentally bumping the Siri button on it. So I'm like Pete. I wish they would have found some way to do incorporate the chip on it so it could be found and stuff. But I'm already seeing people come up with new and novel ways with some kind of third case with a little mini lanyard where they'll secure and one of the air tags to the Siri remote. So I'm sure there'll be some clever people out there. There's an opportunity out there for some third party to incorporate the new air tags into it in some way. So, but I'm looking forward to to doing what Pete did with the calibrating the television. I've yet to do that. I got a couple of remotes, a couple of links in there on how to do it and stuff in chat, how to calibrate your TV with the new Apple TV. So really enjoyed the event. This really hit this out of the park as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you have an iPhone 12 and the previous generation Apple TV, you can do the color calibration now with the iOS or the tvOS update. It isn't exclusive to this Apple TV, but they did add it. This is the cover that I use for the remote. It's like a little silicone cover that can come off, and it has a lanyard on it.
Yeah,
and it also has two magnets embedded in the silicone here on the back, so it can easily just stick to a metal surface. It's been a lifesaver. In fact, we have 4 Apple TVs in the house. I got this, put it on, and immediately ordered 3 more because it's just so. I mean, with the remote by itself, it's so easy to have this slip between your leg and the couch cushion or something like that. It's
too
really,
slick for my liking.
Yeah, the case bulks it up a little bit, and you got the lanyard you can pull on. Yeah.
And at least the old remote did have a lanyard hole on it for gaming and stuff. The new one does not, so it'll really lend itself to more of those aftermarket cases like that, especially if you have a blue velvet couch. Blue velour couch. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Just quick here. So pricing, did this go down? I thought we used to be.
Yeah, it was $199 and $249.
$238 or $2 something.
Yeah.
For the top, so the price went down on the 4K. And just to clarify, the difference in the memory or the storage, excuse me, is you can put more apps in it with the 64 gig versus the 32. But now it's only a $20 difference. Before it used to be a sizable difference. So just to future-proof yourself, for $20, definitely get the 64 gigabyte.
Yeah, and like you said, Ken, that's mostly for games. In a little bit, we'll go into Apple Arcade. Our arcade games or games from the App Store have to be downloaded onto the unit, but whatever you're watching, movies and stuff, aren't. They're all 100% streaming. So if you are one that enjoys a game on Apple TV, there's no question that the $199 is for you. But if you just casually stream and don't download much, you could save yourself $20. But to Ken's point, why? Just go with the 64.
All righty, and you can order it on April 30th. So that's coming up soon. And again, if you already have the 4K version of it, it's not a huge increase. And by the way, it was my understanding this remote does work on the old 4K version. I heard. Can anybody else verify that? I think so.
They're saying,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I think so too. I haven't heard specifically about this, but all Apple TV generation remotes in the past have been compatible with the next version. You can
Right.
basically pair them. So yeah, I think it will be.
And again, if you go back and you watch the keynote's like an hour long, and it was fantastic, and it will
Well done.
get into much more detail on all this stuff. All right, so then the M1 chip that's been in the new Mac Mini, the new MacBook Air, the new MacBook Pro 13-inch, the M1, which is essentially an offshoot of the top-end chip, the 14X that's in the iPhone. They modified it for the Mac, and those devices are fantastic. Well, they decided to finally come out with a new 24-inch iMac. Now, remember, in the past, we had a 21.5-inch iMac and a 27-inch iMac. So what they've done is they were able to reduce the iMacs have always had that kind of large bezel around the display, so they've reduced the size of that. The 24-inch iMac is just a little under an inch wider than the existing 21.5, but you get 3.5 more inches of screen space on it. And the amazing thing is, by using this silicon on chip, this system on a chip of the M1, the storage, which used to be a hard drive or a solid state drive, the RAM, and the processor itself, and the graphics card are all on one chip. So therefore, they're able to reduce the size of the entire logic board and the chip. This is the whole brain of the new iMac 24-inch. Those are two fans on the side, and they're below, they're I think 10 decibels, and it would not likely be audible. And pretty amazing that they can put all of that on the chin of the iMac. So Pete, anything on the M1 or anything else there? I've got some other shots coming up.
I can't overstate. I can't, the what you're seeing right here, what you're seeing on Ken's shared screen right here, this is something Steve Jobs set in motion many years ago. What you're seeing here is revolutionary in this industry. It's a sea change. It's an absolute sea change, but Apple is so clever to just sort of slipstream it into what they're doing. What Apple has done is displace the industry by disrupting the partnerships. Now, if you think about it, traditionally PC assemblers, like, I don't know, take whoever, Dell, Gateway, even Microsoft now sells PCs, and then you take Apple, all these PC assemblers would source hardware, right? They would say, hey, NVIDIA, you make graphics chips. We'll buy them from you. And then they would say, hey, Intel, you make processors. We'll buy them from you. This is what all computer companies do. HP, everybody, that's what they do. They say, hey, we're going to make the chassis, and Microsoft, you provide the software. Intel, you provide the chips. And it's a lowest bidder kind of thing, right? They have Intel chips, and they just... And computer manufacturers like Apple previously, or like Dell, like HP, they have to rely on the channel discipline of all these other companies. So for instance, if Intel doesn't run their company right and they have a shortage of chips, or if NVIDIA doesn't run their company right and they have a shortage of chips, this affects Apple's production schedule. It affects Apple's ability to deliver on the inventory that their retail partners are expecting. What Apple did way back when Steve Jobs was around, they started this process, but what they did was they gained independence from others in the industry. They did what nobody else has done. They went and created their own processor. They went and created their own GPU, or graphics processing unit, and they went and created all these chips. They basically displaced Intel for the processor. They basically displaced NVIDIA or AMD for the graphics card, and they've made them all themselves. Now, when you look at their earnings report, and like Ken said earlier, bunch of tech companies are reporting low earnings or earnings below expectations because they're citing global shortages and stuff. Here's where Apple future-proofed themselves by saying, not only do we make all the chips now, not all of them, there's still a subset where they rely on Intel for a little while. Not only do we make all the chips now, we control what we tell Wall Street, right? We know if there's going to be a shortage, so we get to tell them the right guidance, and they get to ramp up the production and with Apple being the world's largest purchaser of this stuff, all the companies that they source to get the materials for these things, of course, want to be first in line to provide to Apple because they're the biggest vendor to buy these things. So it was a huge strategic win for Apple to roll this chip out and to be able to create a system on a chip, or in other words, the GPU, the CPU, and the hard drive all on one chip. This is remarkable. What you're seeing here, this iMac is now basically an iPad on steroids. All of you have probably noted the difference between an iOS device and a traditional macOS device, right? When you get your MacBook out and you launch Safari, the Safari icon bounces up and down for a little while, and then Safari opens, and after a while, the web page paints and loads and you see it. Now, this is only a couple of seconds, but if you've done the very same thing on your iPad where you tap the Safari icon, note the blazing difference in speed. When you launch Safari on your iPad, it's there instantly. When you launch Safari on your Mac, especially if you have an aging Mac, it takes a while. What Apple has done is merge those worlds and made the latest version of macOS very tightly integrated with iOS and made the hardware to push it. So now when you plunk this 24-inch iMac on your desk, it's going to be like a giant iPad, that responsive and that fast to pull up the things that you want to do. The only thing missing is a touchscreen on it, which I know Apple won't do. It's not going to be in the roadmap, but it's basically a 24-inch iPad with the speed and reliability of iOS, but it's macOS. It's amazing what they've done.
And the chip is lightning fast. This little chip is proving to be faster than huge amounts of hardware from Intel and AMD, and it's just. And
that remarkable point, Ken, if you don't mind me adding a piggyback onto that, this is because of the software stack. Apple created the software stack that controls all of the hardware. So Metal is one of their underlying technologies, and Swift. These technologies that they're now building the software from the ground up, optimized for the hardware. So what the point Ken just made was like, Apple made a system on a chip. Nobody took it very seriously, but it's blazing past the competitors in two ways. Number one, in footprint size. This system on a chip is tiny, right? That's why people underestimated it. They said, well, Apple's system on a chip isn't going to blow past larger components, and it is. When you think of a traditional processor and GPU, these are large items that prevent PC manufacturers or people, companies like Apple, it prevents them from making really thin and light designs. Well, Apple said, we'll take the matter into our own hands. We'll make a chip that's thin and light that we could squeeze into a tiny space, and it'll blow past your big traditional bulky chips. And they did it. It's absolutely amazing.
And the beauty of it even goes beyond just, quote, as a chip. Because as Pete alluded to, and I did, the storage, the graphics processor, and the RAM are all on with the chip. And the equivalent to that would be, let's say you're working on a project and you are in your office and you need to go get something that's in storage, in other words, a file. You'd go into the other office where the files are and bring it into your office, and then you can work on it. And then there'd be something in the other office you'd get, and that would go into the RAM. And then the other office is the color charts of what you're doing. And you have to keep going back and forth into those offices. Well, realistically, it's like putting everything right in front of you, and you have it all there. And of course that works faster. And it works light years faster in this regard. This is a huge future, and you don't hear a lot about it because the other manufacturers are pretty scared of it, to be honest. Go ahead, Harmon.
What about storage? If everything's on this tiny little chip?
You can get up right now. You can currently get up to 2 terabytes of storage, and I don't think it'll be too long till you'll see 4 terabytes of storage, because they have a new version of this chip coming out more than likely in June or July. And not a new version, it would be more the pro version. This is more the consumer version, and then go from there. And I frankly think that they are going to bring out a 29 or 30 inch iMac, because remember they had a 27 inch iMac. This is a 24 inch iMac, which is 3.5 inches bigger than the, I'm sorry, 2.5 inches bigger than the 21.5. So, and that will have more functionality on it, but it's based on this, and it will be even faster.
Another thing too is storage is sort of the thorn in the side of these companies. Storage requires volatile memory, and volatile memory is still very expensive to source or make. It's just, and so if we were talking about the old traditional spindle hard drives that we used to all use, remember it was about the size of a VHS cassette, and it was silver. These were the hard drives that we used to use back in the days when we enjoyed nearly unlimited storage, right? We hardly ever ran out of space when we had those big boxy spindle hard drives, but our devices were thick and heavy. Now the demand in the marketplace is thin and light. People want thin and they want light. Well, to reduce storage down to those very thin and light spaces, it requires volatile memory. So what Ken said about the 2 terabytes being available, you add something like $1,300 to the price to get to that 2 terabytes, because storage is such, I don't know, a high demand commodity. It's just not easy to do storage. This is why I highly encourage you to consider investing in cloud storage instead of local storage. Cloud storage now, with the bandwidth we have in our internet connections, is just about as accessible as local storage. So that's just something to consider when you're shopping for these things and you see the 256 or 512 hard drive sizes, where that might have discouraged you in the past. I ain't scared of it no more, to put it eloquently. I'm not scared of the low storage capacities on these devices, just because the percentage of time I'm not on a very fast, reliable internet connection is very low. Now, there's always the outside cases where you say, what if I went on a camping trip and I needed my stuff? You can't have it. You just can't have it always. Yeah. But storage is still a very tough nut to crack.
And if you're on slow DSL, you will notice it. So everybody's a little different in that regard. But what you do have to look at is at the cost proposition is you're paying a lot more for storage right away. And over time, you're paying, yes, more for storage on the cloud, but it's very reasonable in price when you consider what you would have paid to have to carry all that on board on the computer. And luckily, the storage prices will drop a bit. The fact that it hasn't dropped, it has a lot to do with the current chip shortage. So just moving on here, this is the current iMac on the left. Now it looks clear, but of course they're just showing you where the guts are and everything else. The new one on the right is so thin, it's a little thicker than an iPad, and the top is all display. And then we saw earlier that down here at the bottom is what we see here, is from the side. That's the entire guts of the computer right there.
And they move the power supply off onto the floor.
Yeah, it's more like a laptop power supply. So this is it. It still has the chin, but the reason it has the chin is because that's where all the guts are. And of course, the other thing is they've got speakers in there. So it's got a very robust speaker system. So that has to be housed somewhere. And when you make it this thin, it's just...
It really broke my head that there is no visible Apple logo from the front. I would have bet against it. Well, you guys know my record on betting and predictions. I'm wrong 100% of the time, so I have a perfect record. But I would have bet against the fact that they're shipping an iMac with no Apple logo on the front. I think this is the first one. I don't think there's ever been an iMac that doesn't have an Apple logo on the front.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Ken,
Yeah.
Has the weight of the iMac been reduced because of the features that you've just been talking about?
Absolutely. It's around 10 pounds, but why does it matter?
Well, because I find that my 27 iMac is, now that I'm getting older, it's harder for me to pick up and carry.
Well, why do you pick it up and carry it?
Occasionally, I've had to take it over to the Genius Bar.
She has a long
times.
extension
Oh
cord.
no, yeah, but you won't need to on this anymore because there's less moving parts. So no, I understand. Yeah, it's very light. It's very light. 10 pounds.
Yeah, 10 years ago, that was not a problem. Now it is.
But again, I reiterate, I've not read it anywhere, but as soon as I saw this as a 24-inch, I really think there's going to be either a Pro version, an iMac Pro, because you'll notice there's none in a dark black color in a 29 or 30 inch coming out. So, this is a great computer at a great price, and it's just, it ticks all the boxes. And what you've got two versions of it. For $12.99, you have the little bit more pedestrian CPU in it, the GPU. This is just slightly slower, and it only has 2 Thunderbolt ports on the back for $12.99, and you only have 4 colors, or as Jason Snell said, silver is a non-color, and I'll tell you why in a second. So those are the colors.
And that one there is the average. That's what you'd go for if you didn't have power user needs, unless you told me, hey, I'm a photographer and I really have a lot of high res raw photos that I'm editing and stuff. Any regular use, this is your machine here. Going up to the next one.
Absolutely. And then this one, you get 2 more colors. You get a little bit better GPU. It does start at they're both at 256, but you get 2 more USB ports on it. And I should point out that the keyboard and the perimeter of the mouse match the color of the computer. And then the other thing is that this one has, on the power supply, you can actually off board, down on the floor, you can plug Ethernet into the power adapter. It comes into this. So realistically, you have 1 cord, which is color coordinated to your computer, coming in from the back. And rather than push it in really hard like you did on the old iMacs, because remember, it's so thin, it's this magnetic connector for the power. The engineering on this is amazing. So there they are.
11 millimeters thick, top to bottom.
Yeah, I believe it was 11 millimeters, if I'm not
mistaken. Which is about 7/16 of an inch.
Yeah, it's roughly really, really thin. So these are all the features. You can really see the look of them there. It does still have the Apple logo on the back. Oh, and I should point out, you'll notice the little dot facing us on the side. That's the headphone jack, because it is not thick enough for a headphone jack to plug in from the back. The headphone jack would be too long, so it's in from the side.
And a couple of optimizations for today's work from home, school from home. The camera has doubled in resolution. So where we've only had 720 cameras, 720 pixel resolution cameras on previous Macs, this will be the first Mac to ever ship with a 1080, 1920 by 1080 resolution full HD camera with a very low light sensor and an array of microphones that use hardware to drain out background noise. So lots of optimization features for this sort of new work from home space we're in.
And you'll notice in the lower right, one over, you can now use Touch ID to unlock your Mac from the keyboard also. So that's new. So any questions on the iMac while we're there?
Yes. Will it be next month's raffle prize?
Well,
tune in.
And Jason Snell's point is that since silver is not a color, he's still good with 6 colors.
6 colors, yeah. And of course, all the logos and stuff now they've got these kind of pastel, the old Apple logo that had the 6 colors on it. Now it's more, they've done the Apple logo with pastel colors, just not permanently, but just it looks pretty good. So anyway, fantastic. I think this is an absolute home run, and we've been waiting for that because I think the last design of the iMac is 6 years old. So this kind of rounds it out, and they're still making the transition of the. So basically, the 4 items to the left have the M1 chip in them. Then the Mac Pro and those to the right all have the Intel chips. And when Apple embarked on this 6-8 months ago, they said that it would be a 2-year transition. I have a feeling they're a little ahead of schedule.
And it's worth noting, yeah, I think they did a 2-year transition just to assuage the fears of their alliance partners, but forget it. They're leaving town. But it's also worth noting that the 4 Macs on the left all can run the apps that your iPad or iPhone uses. Right now, if there is an app that you have on your iPhone, but you want it on your Mac, you have to rely on the app developer to have made a version for both the Mac and iOS in order to have it in both places. With the new Macs that have the M1 chip, so if you are shopping and you have the choice between the M1 and the Intel chip, the new Macs with the M1 chip will natively run all of the same apps as your iOS devices. So that's kind of a big deal. I mean, you probably have devices on your iPhone you probably have apps on your iPhone that you rely on, like your bank account app, for instance. You open it up, you can check your bank balance. Well, imagine having those in your dock on your iPad where you could use them there.
Even like the weather app or something like that. And the thing is that it really, the M1 chip is essentially the same chip that's in the iPad Pro. So it really is just like that. And it's amazing the power they're getting out of this quote mobile chip. So, all right, go ahead.
I assume these keyboards and mice are wireless.
Yes, and they do offer a wireless one with a 10 key on it.
But what do you do when you need to hold the shift key down to launch?
But I don't know. It's different in an M1.
Yeah, what it'll be is button combination, something with hardware, just like it is on your iPad where you hold down the 2 buttons at the same time. There'll be a hardware combination with the buttons on the
But
iPad.
in previous Macs, it doesn't pay attention to the keyboard until it's fully launched.
Right. That's why it'll be a hardware. You'll actually hold a button down on the Mac itself when you boot up, instead of relying on a.
Okay. All right.
Good.
And the MacBook Pro, when will it come out?
Which one?
The MacBook Pro with M1.
Well, they have the 13-inch out now with the M1, but it'll be the M whatever. Indications and rumors are June, July. Maybe that's something they'll introduce at WWDC.
Good deed. Let's hope.
The indications are that the chip has gone into full production this last week.
Fantastic.
So these are the things about the M1 we've covered. And then we're going to briefly go over the new iPad Pro, which is really an improvement on it. It's got the new screen. I'm impressed with the front-facing camera. Pete, go ahead and take it away here.
Yeah, front-facing camera, and then also, do you guys remember when Apple built in an accelerometer to the phone? We're like, what the heck? Who cares? I don't care if my phone's moving. But the accelerometer opened the doors to an entire ecosystem of apps that we don't even realize are using the accelerometer to either measure subtle movement or speed for speedometer or whatever it is. With this, they've built in, I realize they built it in the previous generation too, but a new generation of LiDAR. And what LiDAR is basically like, it reaches out with beams of light that register back to the device with the distance between the device and the beams of light. What this allows it to do is have like parallax scrolling and the ability to have spatial awareness and stuff like that. So it looks like Apple's doubling down on LiDAR, and they're making it a huge part of the new hardware, which will in turn open up a whole ecosystem of apps for us to do interesting things with 3D models or gaming. Or I don't know if you guys have tried this yet, but if you have some of the new hardware, like you can go to the IKEA app, you can pick a piece of furniture and then look through your phone screen to see the furniture in your room. You can actually place it in the room wherever you want and walk around with your phone screen as though you're walking around the piece of furniture. This helps you visualize what the furniture will look like in the space before you purchase it. Now, this is made possible by the depth registration of LiDAR and stuff like that. So with the addition of a stronger generation of LiDAR in the iPad Pro, I really think we're going to see developers break open a whole new genre of ways.
Yeah, and that's augmented reality, and I'll tell you that Apple's doubling down on that because there are so many other pieces to the puzzle that are probably going to come from that, and it really is pretty amazing. One other thing for Zoom calls and things like that. So the front-facing camera on this is a very wide 120-degree angle, but what it actually can do is, within reason in those 120 degrees, you can set it if you're doing, for instance, a Zoom call, and let's say you were doing a cooking demonstration. You can have it so it follows you within certain limits without the iPad moving, but there's enough field of view in the iPad camera of 120 degrees that if someone comes and joins right beside you, it'll it'll zoom out and have both you and then come back in, and all that's automatic, and that's pretty amazing.
Yep, I consider those some more optimizations along the lines of the work from home, school from home stuff. The microphones are better, the speakers are better, and the ability for the camera to kind of see faces and follow them is definitely optimization for this new way that we interact.
And one thing is, if you have the older iPad Pro Magic Keyboard, it won't work on the new one, but the new Magic Keyboard works on the older iPad Pro and the new one, is my understanding. So, and just some of the features, you can get up to 2 terabytes of storage and up to 16 gigabytes. Because what a surprise! It's pretty much just it is the M1 chip that's in there. So it does come with 5G. If you order it, it's $200 extra for that. So just to recap, AirTags, new Apple TV, the new iMac 24-inch, and the new iPad Pro. What is it, 11 and 12.8, I believe, right?
Yep, 11 and 12.8. Or 12.9. And then a new white version of the keyboard cover.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So there's a new update to your phone that dropped yesterday, or your iOS devices, 14.5. And Facebook hates this because it actually allows you to determine whether you want to be tracked or not just in Facebook, but on other apps. So Pete, give us a few minutes on this if you could, please.
Yeah, this is one of those things that maybe a couple of years ago I would have probably passed it off as not that critical. But after some of the things I've seen firsthand with the overreach of some of these companies like Facebook and Instagram, I've actually had a conversation with one of my girls about something pretty random. Like the other day, I was talking about we need to clip the dog's nails and we're going to need some nail clippers for the dog. We just had a quick discussion about it. My wife opened her phone an hour later and there were ads on there on Facebook for dog grooming nail clippers. Now she had not searched. The phone had simply just been in proximity while we were talking about it. I can't say if this was a coincidence or some part of Facebook's ability to track and listen, but I've seen it enough times that it's really got me creeped out.
Yeah.
And with the way the last 2 years has played out with these big tech companies having the influence that they do, kind of scares me. So now I've changed my tone a little bit. I am a do not track or ask not to track. I do not want to participate in giving data to companies like Facebook that helps optimize their ads. I do not want to participate. So this is huge for me to be able to opt out. However, I just want to say one more thing. This is not to be confused with the series of questions you get from Apple when you set up an Apple device. when you set up an Apple device, it's going to say, would you like to share analytics with app developers? Would you like to allow us to understand what your iPad is doing anonymously and all this stuff? It may sound hypocritical, but to Apple, I say yes to all of these things because this helps the research and development of these products. Whereas, and they do not use your information as a revenue stream, right? Apple has been adamant about that your privacy is of utmost importance to them. In fact, they even build a chip into your device to maintain your privacy, a hardware chip. No other company does this. So I am a yes to share analytics with Apple so they can better improve the device that I've purchased. But I say no to all these other companies like Facebook that want to get my trends and habits and sell that to data companies so they can figure out how to create ads. I'm not a fan. So I am so glad that we now have app tracking per app. It used to be just you could say yes or no, but now per app we can decide whether or not we want to opt in to help them optimize their ads for us. And it's a hard no for me.
And you can tell how important it is because Facebook has been fighting this like crazy. They tried to battle Apple on it, but the thing is like we've always said in the past, with Facebook, you're not the customer, you're the product. And with Apple, you buy things from Apple. With Apple, you most assuredly are the customer and you're purchasing the product. So it's terrible what's happened in the big tech, and maybe this will spur some of the waiting, because it's funny because I've actually seen Google more recently kind of get a little more attentive to this also, but that's a double-edged sword because while they're not as pervasive as Facebook is, they are doing some tracking and stuff. Randy, go ahead. You need to.
Yes, Pete. Thanks, Ken. On the new 14.5, Pete, will you be going into how to set up your iPhone with the tracking, allow apps to request to track? Not sure if I slide it or leave it like it is where it's gray. Will you be going into that?
Well, no, Al probably. Yeah, Al's probably good for a link or two on that.
Okay.
For tonight, but certainly for next session or something, I'd be happy to dive into this.
And I'll be doing that in the May 1st Saturday class.
Oh,
because
okay.
That is all about frauds and scams and privacy and protection, and I will go over it in that class. But yes, you just turn that on, and it looks a little weird here. You say ask app not to track. So in other words, that's your default if you don't want to be tracked. Again, I have no problem if it's an Apple product. There's a couple others that are fine with, but I most assuredly are going to do that with Facebook or any of the others on there. So there's a quick little video here I'll play so we can get going, and this just tells you about it.
When you're using apps on your iPhone, you may start to see this. It's the new App Tracking Transparency prompt. It's a feature that gives you a choice. A choice on how apps use and share your data. Data like your age, location, health information, spending habits, and your browsing history, to name a few. This data can help to map your runs, tag your photos, or track your location so a nearby store can offer discounts. But some apps have trackers embedded in them that are taking more data than they need, sharing it with third parties like advertisers and data brokers. They collect thousands of pieces of information about you to create a digital profile that they sell to others. These third parties use your profile to target you with ads. And they can also use it to predict and influence your behaviors and decisions. This has been happening without your knowledge or permission. Your information is for sale. You have become the product. That's why iPhone users will now be asked a single, simple question. Allow apps to track you or not? Maybe you're okay giving an app your email or location so they can share your data with others to personalize ads or build a profile about you. And if you're not, well, that's what the prompt is for. Whatever you choose is up to you. But at Apple, we believe that you should have a choice. App Tracking Transparency, a simple new feature that puts your data back in your control.
You have to love Apple.
Yeah, and this combined with the with what they rolled out last year, where now when you download an app, well, for our whole lives, when we've downloaded apps, it would say, okay, sign in, sign up or sign in, right? That's the choice you get, sign up or sign in. So sign up means you have to put your name and email address. Now, what we used to do, or what I used to do, is just pencil whip it. I'll put any name and any email address. Well, now they want you to go click the link in the email to verify that it's a real email address and all this. Apple has created, or had created last year or the year before, something called Sign In with Apple. And what Apple does is basically populates all that information with private characters that the company never knows your first, last, email, anything. Apple manages all that for you. It basically is a wall between your privacy and the company that you're dealing with. So when you do download a new app and you open it and it says, please create an account, and you see the little black strip that says sign in with Apple, I always opt for that because it offers the app developer zero information about me, and it's all brokered through Apple, so I'm protected. That combined with this, amazing. No other company is even thinking about this kind of stuff because revenue from data is huge for these companies, but not Apple. I love it.
All right, briefly, Randy, did we already get your question?
Yes, thank you. I'll lower my hand.
I got it. Joan, quickly, if you have a question there, go ahead.
I'm just confused. Do I put green for allow apps to request to track, or do I leave it gray on the tracking app on private?
Have you updated to 14.5 yet?
Yes.
Yeah, that's where it's in there, and I think you say
well, there was the old version where you could do it per phone and not per app. So yeah.
No, but now it's in under privacy, and it says tracking, and it says allow apps to ask to track. In other words, you're allowing that to come up and say to ask. It doesn't automatically block them, right, Pete? I think you have to have this on.
It now will give you the prompt
to ask. You have to have it on in green.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Just real quickly, since we cutting in on Pete's time here, I have one question that was put in the purple Mac, and it's from Chris. Recently bought a Brother MFC printer. I would like to save money on ink, but not at the expense of the printer's longevity or health. Is it okay to use non-Brother brand ink? If so, which are best? I've been using Brothers forever. I have a lot of people that have used them. Obviously, they don't print as nice of photos and everything as HP does, but no, they're not really a good photo printer, but they're a good everyday printer. But I don't know of anyone that's had any issue with the aftermarket ink because the Brother ink is very thin, and for reading the ink in the level, they actually have a light that shines through it, and there's a little float in there for it. So, and then her question is how to choose them. You mentioned Easy Ink on here. That's the one I've used a lot, but I just go by what I think are the real reviews on Amazon on that. So anyway, and the ink cartridges are $3 a cartridge on the average in there. So any other quick questions from the crowd? We probably have time for 2, and then we're going to get into Pete so we can get going with Apple One. Anybody? Good news. All right. So go ahead. I'm going to go, and you guys all know Pete. We've been talking all evening, but I'm really want to know about this Apple One, and there's nobody that can let us know more about it and dig down into the details and give you the heads up on it. So again, Pete Losey, thank you very much for presenting tonight. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Ken. I'm gonna. Did we spotlight? Oh, I'm spotlight here. Okay, great.
I got you.
I'll bring up a different screen here, where I can kind of get out of the way and share my phone screen here. Let me see. How's that? That come through okay? You still see me down here? Okay.
Nope. Yeah, we only see you in the screen.
In the corner there, right? Yeah.
No,
Yep.
but you're part of the gallery.
Oh, okay. You probably want, let me see. I am
want-
spotlit.
I'll
So,
just look at
so just change your view from gallery view to speaker view.
Okay, so everybody, you have to go to your view up in on the Mac in the upper right corner, change it from view to speaker view. And at the same time, if you're on an iPad, in the upper left corner, you need to change it to speaker view on that. Okay. I'm gonna mute my mic so that it won't bring it up.
Great. Hey, thanks, Ken, and thanks everybody for joining me here tonight with this walkthrough of the Apple One subscription. Apple's basically bundled a lot of the services they offer into one subscription, but this conversation that we have tonight, hopefully it's a interactive conversation. Hopefully you know me by now. I'm open and welcome interruptions, and really just want to have a conversation about the value proposition of the Apple One. Is it really for everybody? I don't think so. I think there's some value proposition there, but definitely not for everybody. And I want to talk about all the components, spend a little bit of time on each of the properties that are bundled in there, and give you my editorial view. It's not, so please don't, warning, it's my editorial opinions. But let's look at the spread of what's bundled in first. Just sort of pulling up Apple's website here to look at the 6 properties that are bundled in. You've got Apple Music, Apple TV Plus. This is very confusing for my mother. I set her up with an Apple TV, and the Plus thing is breaking her brain. She's not getting it. She's saying, "Can I watch this on Apple TV?" And I'm saying yes, but then she's saying, "Why is there a plus by it?" So just a little bit about Apple TV Plus we'll talk about. Apple Arcade, we won't spend very much time on that. It's very straightforward. iCloud, I want to chat about a little bit. Same with Apple News, and then Apple Fitness. So let's jump in with Apple Fitness. If you're not aware of what this is, this is also confusing. Apple has so many properties now that it's easy to lose track, because there's the Apple Fitness app. You may or may not have used it. It's mostly for people who wear an Apple Watch. You'll see activity rings. You have the move ring and the stand ring and the exercise ring. And the idea is that you want to close those 3 rings each day. Those 3 rings are customized about, with information about you, your age, your weight, other vitals. If you wear an Apple Watch, it can measure your heart rate and your EKG and your blood oxygen level. So the exercise rings in the fitness app on the watch and phone are not just like an odometer. It isn't just counting your steps. It is putting together all of the discernible information about you, and it's bringing you a customized profile. I've seen this in action many times, where I used to be a Fitbit user or an odometer. I'm sorry, I'm saying odometer, I mean pedometer. Sorry. I used to be a pedometer user where it measures your steps. But me and the family went hiking fairly recently, and it was pretty fascinating to me how the biometrics on all of our devices were different. My son, who's 12 and very fit, or my daughter, who's 14 and also very fit, differed greatly between myself or my wife, because it really does measure current live biometrics. So that's the Apple Fitness app, and that is on the phone and the watch, and that's free. But you add that plus to it, Apple Fitness Plus, and now you get this property where Apple puts on-demand exercise sessions available on basically any of your devices. Meaning that if you have 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 minutes to exercise, and a little bit of space to move around, or a bike, a stationary bike, you can dial up a class on the Apple Fitness Plus app, and that will allow you to customize a workout. I'll just show you what I mean here by pulling up Fitness Plus on my phone. I have my phone on the screen here, and I'm just going to pull up Fitness. Oh, do I? Yeah. And in the Fitness app, you see Fitness Plus is a tab down at the bottom. You've got that tab. And here you get to customize your workout. Now, I'm not all that active these days, and I cannot get in there and sweat and jump rope and do all that stuff like maybe I once could. So I may just choose something a little less strenuous, but you can see across the top of my interface there, right under the Fitness Plus, I've got different categories that I can choose from. And you've got mindful cool down or dance or rowing, cycling, treadmill, strength, core, all that stuff. I'm just going to do HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. And I'm just going to tap that. That may be what I'm in the mood for at the moment. Now, after I select that, it brings up the current workouts that are available with a filter button up there. Do you see that green filter button? If I tap that green filter button, it lets me choose. I can choose which trainer I want. Now, I've done a few of these workouts, and you get to know the trainers a little bit, and I find myself connecting more with some than others. And so I like the fact that I can come in here and pick from all these different trainers that are available. If I become familiar with one, I really like their style, then I want to dial them up. So I can pick, I'm just going to pick Jamie here. And then I can pick the timing. Now for the HIIT, high intensity interval training that I chose, there are no 5-minute ones, but some of the other categories have them. I've got a 10, a 20, and a 30-minute choice. So I'll just make a 10-minute choice, let's say. And then for the music, I can just choose the genre of music I like best from this little list down here. So I'll just choose like upbeat anthems. And then when I tap done, it's going to show me the workouts that match my filter. So there you see I have two 10-minute workouts, both with Jamie, and both have the upbeat anthem music. Now, as if that wasn't cool enough, I thought, okay, let me try this out. I hit the play button on my Apple TV, right? I pulled up the fitness app on my Apple TV. I hit the play button, and it immediately synced with my watch. And it showed me, oh, hey, there's a text from Ken. My screen looks low resolution. Drat. Zoom, that's something I've been wrestling with in my work life. Zoom just fuzzies everything way up. I wish there was a better RTMP solution, but sorry about that. I'll try not to do anything too detailed that you have to see fine detail. Now, I fired up the Apple TV app with the fitness. I put it on, it synced with my watch, and then my vitals were displayed on the screen. That was a moment for me. That was cool. That isn't something you're used to seeing. So my heart rate was displayed on the screen, and it showed me what other people do at about this time in the workout. So here I'll just share some of the things I'm talking about in visual form here. On my Apple TV screen was this biometric thing. It showed how long I had been going, how many miles I had run or worked out, my heart rate, and how many calories I had burned. And do you see this little meter here? This shows your position among others who have done this same workout. So naturally, I'm like, I don't want to be left of the center. I want to be ahead. I want to do better than other people. It really did motivate me. It was kind of fun. And I did it once and never again. So it shows you how much I get into this exercise. But these highly produced workout routines are made by Apple in a studio that's optimized for these workout routines. So you really do get a very cool experience. But another thing I want to point out of note here is the three instructors on the screen are all three doing a different workout. The center one is for those who are fit and want to keep up. But the one in the back on the left, they're doing a modified version that is easy. And the one in the back on the right, they're doing a higher intensity version. So there's something for everybody here. You can pick a relatively low energy workout to begin with. And then you can keep your eyes on the person in the back left. That's always the low intensity instructor to follow. So I thought that was really cool of Apple to put 3 people on the screen for all these workouts, and one of them will always be the lowest intensity. So not only are you competing against others who have done this workout, but you're also looking at the lower intensity one and hoping you can graduate to the middle guy or the person on the right with as you gain strength and stamina and stuff. So to me, this was a really cool property that Apple invested a lot of money in the studios and the production value and stuff. So they're charging for it. It's $10 a month or $80 a year for you and up to 5 family members. No, for you and up to 4, so 5 people total. And that is part of the Apple One subscription that we're talking about here. So $10 a month or $80 a year, but it'll be bundled in.
And 3 months free with an Apple Watch.
Yep, you do get that free trial. So do take advantage of that. Next up in the lineup here, if you look at, we've got Apple TV Plus. This is, again, my mom she just gets so confused and mad at me whenever something's confusing. She gets mad at me about it, but hey, I didn't make it up. Apple TV Plus is, just think Netflix. Apple TV had to make themselves a Netflix. It's a premium programming service, as I would describe Netflix, premium programming. And the program, you pay for it. You pay for that programming. So you might be thinking, well, I have an Apple TV already, and I'm able to watch things on Apple TV. Isn't that Apple TV Plus? And as confusing as it might be, Apple TV Plus is actually a section within the Apple TV Plus app where you can watch exclusive material for subscribers only. So it's a little confusing, but just because you happen to have an Apple TV doesn't mean you get all the benefits of Apple's streaming service. Let's see if they can do a little bit of a better job as we walk through. Oh, where did it go? Oh, here it is, Apple TV Plus. And by the way, Apple did not mess around. They bought some of the biggest names in entertainment. They bought Oprah Winfrey. They bought Bill. I don't know. Bill. He was just on. Anyway, huge names. These aren't small names. Jennifer Aniston. They bought Steve Carell. They have exclusive deals with a lot of very heavy hitters in entertainment. So if you're into Netflix or if you're into Hulu, if you're into original content, check it out. I've watched a couple of original Apple TV shows, or Apple TV Plus shows, and I'm really impressed with some of them. Especially, check out Tiny World if you have Apple TV Plus. Apple set up a sanctuary for these animals and has camera angles that are absolutely breathtaking that you will not see in real life. I can't even believe they got them. You got to check it out. Tiny World, it's called. So Apple TV Plus would cost you $10 a month or $14.99 for the family plan. That is also bundled in the Apple One subscription. So you've got, we've already talked about Apple Fitness and Apple TV Plus. Apple Music, I won't spend a ton of time on, other than to say that if you are a music enthusiast and you don't subscribe to Apple Music, what are you even doing? It took us a long time to get here, folks, but we're here. All of the published works of American musicians reside on Apple Music, with the exception of a tiny sliver. But if you told me when I was a teenager that I could have access to all the works of American musical entertainment in the palm of my hand for $10 a month, I wouldn't have believed you. If you've ever bought a DVD for $16.99, or if you are a music enthusiast, Apple Music is a no-brainer. Not only do you have all this stuff at your fingertips, but you can tell Siri, well, I hope I didn't trigger anybody, that you want to hear the top hits of 1951. And Siri will play the top hits of 1951. It isn't just the music, but the things you get along with it. Oh, she's talking to me. So if you're not an Apple Music subscriber, you got to convince me why not. And if you just say, I don't really listen to music, then that's okay. But if you're a music enthusiast in any way, shape, or form, if you don't have it, I'm scratching my head now. That Apple TV or Apple Music, sorry, pluses are tripping me up. Also $9.99 a month, or $14.99 for the family plan. I currently subscribe to the family plan. I have $15, and there's 5 of us. My mom is covered in my family. Can't imagine a better value than that. And there's a lot of misconceptions about Apple Music. Something about you can't download the music, or if you're on an airplane, you can't listen to it. It's all nonsense. All the music can be downloaded if you want onto your device. It really just depends on how much space you have. You can listen to it offline. You can share the songs with others who subscribe or have a free trial to Apple Music. The caveat is if you stop paying, then you don't get access to them anymore. So as long as you pay, we used to have curated collections. Some of us are still proud of it, right? Your vinyls or your CD wall where you go out and pull a CD out. Some of us had curated collections. What a time to be a music enthusiast, where in the palm of your hand is all our world's history of American entertainment musicians in the palm of your hand. Why, if you don't have it, why? I'm always confused by that. So there is another value proposition in the bundle that is Apple One. So between Apple Music, which is $10 a month, Apple TV Plus, which is exclusive programming like Netflix, which is $10 a month, and then Apple Fitness, just those 3 things alone, before the Apple One subscription, I was paying $30 a month for. So when you get down to the subscription price of Apple Plus, it's pretty compelling. The other 2, or the other 3 properties we haven't touched on are obviously Apple Arcade, Apple News, and iCloud. iCloud will spend the most time on, but let me touch on Apple Arcade and Apple News. Apple Arcade is really for gamers, or even just casual gamers, people who like, the puzzle games and stuff. But what you pay for is games that are curated by Apple, because if you go search Sudoku, I always say it wrong. If you go search for that in the App Store, you have thousands of choices, and many of them are garbage. It's kind of like what the PC users used to experience in like the 90s, where they would try to get software, but much of it was garbage. Well, what Apple does is curates games, not only curates, but requires the developers to meet certain standards before it can be considered an Apple Arcade game. So basically, for the $5 a month you pay for Apple Arcade, you get a curated collection of games that otherwise you would have had to pay for in the App Store anyway. You get to play them without paying the fee for them on a subscription basis. So it does open up a world, not only a world of games, but a world of quality games that have not only been vetted by Apple, but the developers have had to meet a certain standard in order to be accepted into the Apple Arcade. So for those of you who are either casual or more gaming enthusiasts, I love it. And you can also hook up your Xbox controller, if you have one, now to the phone or to the iPad. So you can use a controller to play instead of just tapping the screen. Cool stuff. And then
actually, it is compatible with the new Apple TV too, right?
Oh yes, the controllers. They were before as well, but yeah, the controllers. They've opened up the controller compatibility to even more now with the new Apple TV. Mm-hmm. So that's Apple Arcade. Probably not incredibly compelling for many in this audience, but hey, it is a cool curated property. And then there's the Apple News Plus. This was interesting to me, mildly interesting to me, because you can, of course, go in and you can select different news outlets that you'd like to subscribe to, and you can tell it what your interests are, and it will give you news stories relevant to your interests. What really caught my attention, though, was full scans, high quality scans of today's and previous issues of magazines I don't know about you, but there's something to me that's very tactile about sitting with my iPad, viewing a magazine on it and flipping the pages, just like I used to do in like a real Field and Stream magazine or Guns and Ammo magazine. I now have each page, all the ads, and I can click around. That's what really caught my eye. Apple News is a free trial. It has a free trial of like 3 months or something like that. Check it out. Get in the free trial and go download some magazines. There's cooking magazines like Cooking Light and The Joy of Cooking, tons of magazines, and they're all in full fidelity. Amazing. You can zoom in on the articles, you can zoom in on the pictures, you can screenshot them and save them, the recipes and stuff. I really had a great time, a very nostalgic time walking through magazines again. And they're all digitized and updated for today's world. They're very responsive. It's incredible. So while Apple News didn't,
they're included with the subscription, you're not paying additionally for that content.
Right. You might subscribe to a magazine and have to pay that magazine subscription. Well, now you just pay the one fee through Apple News and you get the magazine digitally. And it behaves the same way as the physical magazine. You can look at the spread of 2 pages, you can turn the pages, you can zoom in on articles. It's just amazing to me. So I download several of them before I get on a plane. I download several magazines, and then as I'm flying, I can flip through them. I even handed it to a passenger next to me because they had nothing. They were just bored. I said, "Hey, do you want this? There's magazines on there." And they didn't want to give it back. They're like, "I can't believe there's real magazines on here. This is insane." So it's very surprising once you dig in and you see that they made magazines great again. It's like being in a doctor's office waiting room again. Oh, sorry, go ahead. The Apple News Plus subscription is
it's $9.99.
You get a free trial, but yeah, I think I've listed it here. Where did I put it?
I have some stuff in the links.
Yep. Oh, thank you, Al. But yeah, $9.99 for that. But there is a free trial for everybody. So if you haven't already opted into the free trial, I suggest that you do. And then you can get these just amazing magazines. And you see on my screen here, there's a bunch of logos of just some of the magazines that are available to download. It's also
magazines. Isn't the Wall Street Journal included in there, and some of the other?
Yep, Wall Street Journal,
New York Times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says here
included in it. Wall Street Journal itself is more than that per month.
Yeah, yeah. Here's a full list. I can drop this in the chat here since I'm kind of taking you by surprise there, Al. But yeah, there's the full list of publications if you're curious. But to me, I think it's worth it because if I want to, I like rock and roll magazines and stuff, and so I've been flipping through them, and it's really been a great time. It made me realize what I missed about magazines. We're all on websites now, and websites are websites. But when I went back to magazines, it really highlighted what I kind of missed from those. And then the last part of the package is iCloud. And iCloud, as you already know, has its own pricing tier right now. This is all of us are in one of these pricing tiers with iCloud. You're either in the free one or you max out at 5 gigabytes, but I think we all blew past that pretty quickly. The most popular is the 99 cents a month. That gets you your 50 gigabytes, 200 for $2.99, and then $10 a month for 2 terabytes. Just a quick and dirty about iCloud is not only is it essential today. When the cloud was first, it was a cool option. The cool kids were doing it. Like, oh, you keep stuff in the cloud. Oh, that's cool. It's not an option anymore. You have to have cloud storage. You have to. So I don't buy hard drives anymore. Like, we used to go to Costco and get an external hard drive and then plug it into our machine. And that would be our backup. All my stuff is backed up to iCloud. So there is no possibility of physical damage to any of my drives or computers that would risk me losing anything. It's all backed up to the cloud. That feels great. And so I pay the $9.99 a month, but not anymore. With the Apple One subscription, you'll see what that bundles into. I'll just scan the chat here and look and see.
Yeah,
does Apple
Harmon is
Music-
asking does Apple Music have songs that are not available from the iTunes store?
I don't know. That's a good.
I think
That's a good
they should be quote in harmony, pun intended.
Yeah, there are some artists who do not want to stream their material, and there are some artists who do not want to sell. They want to stream only. So Apple does give the artist the choice, and so yeah, you may find some things that are in Apple Music that aren't in iTunes Store, and vice versa.
So Mary asks about, do the 6 users need to be connected via family share?
Yeah, you have to be in the family iCloud group, but there's really no implications to that. Like, for instance, my mother is part of mine because I want to share these things with her without her having to pay separately. And all I did was add her. She didn't notice anything different. I didn't notice anything different. We don't have to bump our phones together or anything. I just added her. So yes, you do have to be all in the same family to take advantage of the bundle, but there is no implications to it. There's no like same household or same roof or anything.
Pete, how does it work for the iCloud storage space then in if you use Apple One?
Yeah, let's jump down here. Let's jump down here to the actual pricing. This is the Apple One subscription pricing. The 3 tiers, you can see there's good, better, best. The good tier, or the individual tier they call it, is $14.95 a month. It includes Apple Music, Apple Arcade, the TV Plus content, so basically your Netflix part, and 50 gigabytes.
Your phone is covering the left-hand column.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It sure is.
And we can't read those.
I put this information in the chat as well.
There you go. Oh, they're unreadable because of yeah. Well, here's what I'll do. We'll do this one.
But the phone is still overlaying it.
Yeah, I got you. Here we go.
Thank you.
No problem. So for $15 a month, you get music, which is $10 a month on its own. So $5 more if I'm putting on my salesman hat, which, by the way, I don't benefit from you opting in. So, but for $5 more, you get the Apple TV Plus content. Now, hold on. I forgot to clarify something about Apple TV Plus. This is why my mom's so mad at me about it. You do not need an Apple TV to watch Apple TV Plus subscription stuff. The Apple TV Plus app lives on your iPhone and your iPad and your iMac. You can get the Apple TV Plus app even on Samsung TVs. When you get a new Samsung TV, you see the Apple TV Plus app on there. My mom was like, why do I need to buy an Apple TV if the Apple TV Plus app is on my Samsung? Because remember, Apple TV Plus is content and the Apple TV is hardware. So Plus is the difference. So for $14.95, Apple Music, which is normally $10, Apple TV Plus, which is normally $10, Apple Arcade, which is normally $5 a month, I think, and your 50 gigabyte iCloud, which you're currently probably paying 99 cents a month for, all bundled in. So $15 a month, you get all these properties. Love it. And then let me move that out of the way. I'll make this one bigger. We move to family. And really the only thing that's changed here in family is this jumps up to 200 gigabytes as opposed to the 50 from before. So for $5 more a month, you get 200 gigabytes.
And it can be shared.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And it can be shared with 5 people. The individual we looked at before is only 1. This can now be shared with 5 people, which is huge. If there's 2 of you in the household, you've already won by taking advantage of Apple One subscription. But then you get to the premium, which they didn't give me a choice. They were like, hey, Pete, we got you, don't we? But $30 a month, 5 people in my family have Apple Music, Apple Arcade, Apple News, full subscription, Apple TV Plus content, the 2 terabyte iCloud drive storage, and the fitness for $30 a month. So if there's even 2 people in your household and you don't even have use for the other 3, maybe add me and Ken to them. Me, Ken, and Al will be the other 3 that you can add on. But even if you don't have use for the other 3, $30 a month for all that, count me in. That's good stuff. So this is where I'll just open it up to questions and conversation about it. I'm happy to answer.
Hey, Pete.
While you're on that slide, Pete, the iCloud space is shared space, but the data it stays particular to that user, correct?
Yes, yes. Everybody gets their own silo in the cloud, right? You have your own silo, and that silo is not accessible by the others. No way, shape, or form. There's not even a little bit of a chance. It's a whole separate thing, but it is all under the same cloud umbrella. So yes.
And what if 2 terabytes is not enough for the group?
If you outgrow 2 terabytes, you can add on additional. You can add on, I think it's 99 cents a month for another 50 gigs or something. But yeah, there are incremental add-ons that you can do. So, but anybody who's exceeded 2 terabytes, let's have a conversation, because I want to know what you're putting in there.
Well, I was thinking more in a large family group.
Sure, you're right. Which goes to Rich's question here about, yes, the 2 terabytes is divided by 5, but it's dynamically divided. It'll give more room to whoever needs it.
I got an answer that said you could use the Echo devices, like for the Apple Music, you can use the Echo devices, but can you use other devices, like, I don't know what the other ones are, but other people may have those.
Yeah, that's a great point of clarification there, Mary. I'm glad you brought that up. That Apple made a deal with Amazon where you can now tell your Amazon Echo device, which is the Alexa personality, the competitor, the Siri. You can tell them to play music from your Apple Music library. So yes, you now have access with your Echo devices to Apple Music library. But as far as other devices go, all you really need is a Bluetooth connection from your phone. So you can basically stream your Apple Music to any Bluetooth device, and just about everything has Bluetooth in it nowadays. So it is very versatile. You can pretty much put your Apple Music anywhere.
And then a final kind of question, at least for me, I've heard that some people have issues with the family share program. What's been the experience of folks?
I'll start by saying I've been in for a couple years in the family subscription, and I've never had a hiccup related to that. There, plenty of other small issues here and there unrelated to the family plan, but I've never had a hiccup related to the family thing.
Mary, there are very rare situations where certain app developers don't allow their apps to go into family share, but that is so rare, and I don't know of any off the top.
In fact, now that you're mentioning that, Apple might have even put a stop to that. They might have even said you can't, if you're going to have an app that you can't stop, if somebody's in the family, you can't stop them from using it or something. I think what you might, maybe it's worth mentioning, Mary, that, but what there have been problems with in the past is not necessarily, I think, with the family plan, but the family plan solved a problem of, sometimes you'd have a household with 2 people in it, right? And one of the 2 would buy an app, a $5 app or something. Let's just take husband and wife, for example. I buy a $5 app and then I show my wife. And she's like, that's awesome. I want that app. Well, because we have separate iCloud accounts, she'd have to go buy it too. And then that's $5. And there were problems with, well, you can't merge them. Or if you had a different iCloud account, you can't merge the purchases from your old one to your new one. This was all outside of the family. Now with the family plan, that's been solved, because if I buy an app, everybody in the family gets the app. Nobody has to repay the $5. So I go to the app store, I see a $5 app that I want, I download it. Anybody else can go download it. They have to click the buy button, which my kids always come to me and say, why does it say buy if you told me we're not going to get charged? You click buy, but then a message pops up that says another family member has purchased this, so you'll be able to download it for free.
Question from Rich Pearson. If I opt in, should I cancel Netflix?
It's a competitor to Netflix. Apple TV Plus content is competing with Netflix. So use your free trial to see. You get a 3-month free trial. Everybody can get a 3-month free trial. Watch some of the content there and see. Now, if you're thinking like, hey, there's a show that Netflix put out called Bloodline. It's a Netflix original and I love it. If you're thinking if I go over to Apple TV Plus, can I get Bloodline? They purposely make original content, so you have to go to theirs, right? I'm a huge fan of Bloodline, so I go and get Netflix so I can watch it. If I cancel my Netflix subscription, I can't watch Bloodline anymore. Apple TV Plus has like Tiny World. That is an incredible series that Apple put out. I can't get it if I don't have Apple TV Plus. So they're competing properties. It's hard to say whether you should cancel one to get the other, but whatever content compels you the most, that's the one to go with.
Just for clarification, Apple TV Plus is the service, and it's $4.99. Excuse me, $4.99 a month, or you get a year free with any Apple product. So you can check into that. More than likely, you do have something out there that you've bought within the last year. So
yeah, just to expand on that a little bit, Apple does, for whatever reason, give a lot of stuff. Oh, well, I won't say for whatever reason. I know why they do it. They give a lot of stuff away free when you purchase hardware. And I think it's a legal matter. Like they're not allowed to give anything of value away free in perpetuity because you have to charge for something that has value or whatever. I read, I don't know, I read something about it. I think what they do is they just hook you with the trial. So to Ken's point, whenever you buy a new piece of hardware, whether it's a phone, a watch, an iPad, often you get an extended trial period for many of Apple's properties at no charge. Remember Pages, Keynote, and Numbers, the iWork package? We used to have to buy that for $79. Now, when you buy a Mac or an iPad, it's free. So it's sort of like you don't even really have to buy it anymore. I've had Apple TV Plus for 3 months now on them, free, because it was a 3-month free trial, and I'm loving it. So they definitely hooked me with some great content.
yeah, it's the content is amazing, and it's amazing. It's just great. I recommend seeing the Elephant Queen.
Elephant Queen, okay, I like that recommendation. That Tiny World, I was showing you that this thing here. They set up cameras in places that don't like you. I'm watching eggs come out of these things in a way like they're right on top of the camera because Apple built these huge sanctuaries with tons of like underground access where they can set up cameras underground where the animals aren't aware of what's going on. You've got to check this thing out. Tiny World is one of them, and then there's it's animal something, but it's just, to me, it revolutionized the way I watch these nature show kind of things. Ted Lasso is also really good, but let me see.
Tiny World kind of spoils you. I mean, it is remarkable.
What was it?
I said Teeny World spoils you.
Yep. And Earth at Night is another one where they've taken what would normally be complete darkness. They've taken cameras that can see in complete darkness, and they're now able to observe the way animals behave when they think it's completely dark. It's a whole different world that Apple's opened up. It's called Earth at Night. So Tiny World and Earth at Night, they're both, if you're not into nature kind of stuff, it'd probably bore you, or maybe not, because it's just amazing some of the technology Apple's worked into this. So if you do have it, or if you're opting into your free trial tonight because of this meeting, please check out Tiny World and Earth at Night for some breathtaking stuff.
We have a question from Bev and Joe Ellen.
Yeah, I think I'm on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Bev. I need remedial Apple TV. I'm kind of channeling your mom, Pete. I mean, I do have to go, but the whole Apple TV, the hardware thing mystifies me. I have an older TV. It's more than 12 years old. It is a flat screen. It's not a cathode ray, but so if I think I have to buy some little thing that looks like a flash drive and plug it in somewhere and then do some magic to get something to flow into my TV.
She may not have HDMI.
I do have HDMI.
Oh, then you should
or maybe HDMI 1.0. Yeah, with a 12-year-old TV, you definitely risk some complication there. And I'd be happy to help troubleshoot or look into that with you to find out what the solution might be.
Fire Stick work for her?
Well, a Fire Stick is also HDMI.
Yeah.
I would say a Fire Stick and an Apple TV are basically would be the same as far as like the connection goes and stuff.
Do you currently have an Apple TV?
No.
Okay.
I mean, my TV is a Sony, but an Apple TV is kind of like the Roku device.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's very confusing to me that they call it a TV when it isn't a TV.
Oh yeah, and then you slap a plus on it, and the plus is not a TV. Yeah, it's
and thank goodness that Johnny Ive is gone. So do you have a Roku device?
Yeah.
Because Roku, if it's a newer Roku, it can do Apple TV Plus also.
Recently, a house guest did something. He plugged it in with, it's an older one, so we could plug it into some of my archival receivers and stuff to do stereo through. I mean, I have a fairly complex video, but it's kind of ancient stuff cobbled together. So
all right.
Well, I like Cheryl's recommendation here in the chat. Cheryl's saying, let's have a mini class on these Apple TV devices. Hey, maybe Ken, the next time I have an opportunity to speak, we can focus on Apple TV.
Sure. The only warning there is everybody's particular home video setup is unique, and as we're seeing from this, and so it's you can't paint with a broad brush on that. But as far as using Apple TV, absolutely. So,
but basically, so you buy something, it's called an Apple TV, and then you find a way to plug it into the HDMI.
But you can watch Apple TV Plus on your computer if it's newer, or on an iPad or an iPhone.
Yeah.
But wait, but wait, but just to be clear, you don't have to find a way to plug it into your HDMI. You just plug it in. There is no go between, like you're saying. There's no flash drive or anything. It's just a one cord from the Apple TV to the TV, and then another cord to power. And that's it.
And if can one do what I think the word is a switch, where you put something into maybe your one HDMI and then have three
little AB switch.
Plug into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can buy an inexpensive HDMI switcher, but that would imply that you only have one HDMI port on the back of your TV, which could be
on that old of a TV.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, okay, so check HDMI.
All right, Joellen, go ahead and ask your question. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay. One thing while Joellen's unmuting, I just wanted the final thought on that. Costco has Apple TVs, and Costco will happily take anything back if you don't like it, and you don't have to give them an explanation. So if you go buy an Apple TV from Costco and you hook it up and you play with it and it doesn't work, or you don't like it, next time you go in, take it back.
Okay, good thought. It's just it's okay. Yep, good. Oh wait, and then once you have the Apple TV hardware thing, then there is a fee like Roku to have it deliver it something, correct?
No.
No fee for all the free streaming stuff, but the only time there is a fee is if you opt into, say, like Netflix, which you may already be a subscriber. You just simply log in with your Netflix credentials on the Apple TV, and you don't have to pay an additional fee if you're already a subscriber.
Okay, because my house guest gets Apple perpetual house guests. Apple. He has a Netflix on his little TV, but I have his membership on mine. So I can piggyback on that Netflix with the hardware Apple TV device.
You sure could. And you just log in with his credentials, and you'll be able to watch Netflix right on that TV with your Apple TV device.
Okay, and we really need to move on to the last question here, and if there's one after that, but we're getting short on time. So Thank you, Bev. Joellen, go ahead.
Okay, I could save a lot of money subscribing to Apple News, but my question is, what if somebody shares with me a link from the New York Times, which I currently subscribe to, so it's easy for me to sign in and read that article. But if I get my New York Times through the Apple News Plus, am I still really a New York Times subscriber? Can I read an article from a link a friend sends me?
The only peril you may have there is their URL scheme that they share with you may only point to a web page that doesn't trigger your Apple News app to open. The solve for that is you could simply just open your Apple News Plus app and search for that article instead of being directly linked. You can just say, so the linking to an article could, not always, but could be problematic only because the URL scheme is looking for a web page and not the Apple News Plus app. But again, just a quick search of that article's topic would probably bring it right up.
Yeah, I guess the same thing would be, can I share a link from something I'm reading in the Apple News Plus thingamajig?
Yes.
With other people, I don't know.
Yes, you can. Now, there are times, like if they're on an iOS device, it'll bring up the News app. And if it is from an Apple News Plus subscription and they don't have one, it'll say the content that's been shared with you requires a subscription. So they will get that prompt.
Yeah. Well, that's
okay.
Thanks.
Carol made a comment that she doesn't think the New York Times is still included with Apple News anymore. Can anyone verify that?
I'm looking at the list now. I'll check that out.
So then there's another question here from Georgiana. I bought a MacBook Pro in December 2019, received free subscription to Apple TV Plus for 1 year. Apple emailed me in January and extended it for free through July. Yes, they did that for most everybody, but her question is, maybe it depends on how much you spent to get it for free. No, unfortunately, that was just a blanket thing for the people that had it. Part of that was due to the pandemic, and the other thing, it was just that they were doing the right thing because they felt that it keeps you sucked in there. And realistically, the $4.99 a month doesn't make or break Apple TV. So I think they're trying to make sure they're doing it the right way. And the other thing was, early in Apple TV Plus, there wasn't a lot of content. And now there's tons of content. So, Pete, you'd find out anything there?
Yeah, the New York Times is not listed here.
Yeah, it was initially, and I guess it's not. But Wall Street Journal still is, right?
Yep, Wall Street Journal is, and the New Yorker and New York Mag, lots of New York stuff, but not the New York Times. No.
Okay. All righty. So, Pete, awesome, and it's one of the few times that you've shown us how to save money.
Hey, very nice. Well, you showed them how to spend money with all that cool hardware, and then I showed them how they're going to get that money by saving.
Yeah, exactly. Or if they buy the new iMac, maybe they get a year of free on something.
Yep.
So, again, huge kudos on that. Thank you, Pete. As always, tons of information.
My
pleasure. And we'll stick around a little bit afterwards, but we need to do our drawing. And so I'll be using Siri to do a random number generator. And if for some reason it misfires when I do it, that number doesn't count. We will redo that particular thing. And Mary or Lisa, what is our number of attendees, please?
I'm doing this part, Ken, and it is 44.
Okay, we have 44 members, part of our audience here. So I will be raffling off for everyone in attendance. There'll be 4 $25 Amazon gift cards. There will be 2 $100 Amazon gift cards, and then the entire membership of 340 are in there for the gift card too. And that goes to everybody. And if you win a $25 gift card and then you win a $100 gift card, you have to turn one of them back in. And I would recommend you turn the $25 one back in, and we'll go ahead and re-raffle it off. So everybody only gets one because I can't exclude certain numbers like that. So we have 44 members in attendance. So for the first 4 will be for the $25 gift cards to that company that starts with a big A. and I will email those to you this evening. So here we go. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
It's 27.
27, and I have not seen these, so you guys have the list. Tell me who number 27 is.
Kathy Dodson.
Kathy Dodson, great. Well, good. All right, next one. $25 gift card. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
The answer is 35.
35. Mary?
Randy Hare.
All right, Randy, congratulations. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
That would be 10.
10.
That would be Carol Dubrowovic. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, Carol.
Congratulations, Carol. All
Thank
right.
you. Take it. Thank you.
The last of the $25 Amazon gift cards. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
That would be 7.
7.
And that would be Carlos Miranda.
All right, Carlos, congratulations. All right, moving on to the two $100 gift cards from that company that says A that I can't say because it'll make my device go off. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
The answer is 5.
5, real close to 7.
That would be Bev Lawrence.
Bev Lawrence, congratulations. Maybe you can buy part of an Apple TV with that.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I think so.
Yeah.
And a consult for hooking it up.
All right, the second of the $100 gift cards for those in attendance. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
The answer is 27.
27. By the way, we know that these were inclusive because I tested it out. It would give a 1 and it will give a 44.
Well, 27 was drawn last time, and that's Kathy Dodson. So.
Okay, so now the $25 gift card is back in the mix. So Kathy will get the 100. So I'm going to be doing one more drawing for the 1 through 44 for the $25 gift card. Give me a random number between 1 and 44.
It's 18.
18. We haven't called that one.
And that is Harmon Tabor.
All right. And Harmon asked a couple questions tonight. So great. So now we're going to do one that's opened up to all members. And let's see here. So we have 340. Give me a random number between 1 and 340.
The answer is 7.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Okay, scrolling. Susan Denny.
Okay. I'm sorry?
Susan Denny.
Great. Yeah, perfect. No, be quiet.
I didn't get that.
Okay,
Could you try again?
No, off. Okay, so that does it, and they'll get me those names, and I will email that out to everyone. If you're a winner, it's not spam. You'll be getting an email from the Amazon. It'll be an Amazon address, so look for that. And fantastic, Pete. Again, wonderful. You guys have a lot of new things to look at. And again, ultra huge thanks to Al. He put links in the chat. He will make those available for you.
Al is amazing. And I got to step up my game because Al's like a fact checker now. I can't just spew nonsense anymore because I see this chat with all this stuff. All of my facts are being checked over here. So amazing job, Al.
Yeah, and you can save the chat. So if you click on the chat in the lower right, you can go ahead and save the chat that way. But he does put it together in a PDF format that's clickable. And the recording of this will be on the normal website link on YouTube where it normally is too. But again, Al, thank you. I know it was a tough day for you, and we're so happy you were here. And I mean, you were just spewing that stuff out tonight. It was awesome, and it really is great. And thanks for Mary and Lisa for conducting the raffle, and Bob White. I think he's still around here. And thank you, everyone, and have a good evening, and stay cool in the next couple days.
If there's anything that Pete needed, it was a fact checker.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yes.
Lots of
Can
information.
Al check your private chats on Zoom? I
Yeah,
sent you.
what is it?
Just click that link and check it out. Send me a text after you take a look at it.
There's no link.
I didn't link you? Oh.
Okay, here we go. Power
All right.
Mac Edge.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
but then
it.
I have to use it. All right.
Well, it'd be cool in your Tesla. Okay, everybody. Thank you.
Any other quick questions? Thank you, Pete, again. Awesome. And what was our top tonight? What did we have? How many?
Oh, 44 participants.
No, but total.
Well, 45 with Pete.
Oh, that was it. So we were all members. Okay.
Yeah, all members but Pete.
Got it. Randy has his hand up. Go ahead, Randy, that won the raffle.
Whoa, that was the first in a long time. Thank you very much. My wife she uses Microsoft. So we got on her new iPad, Apple iPad, we got the $65 1-year Apple 360 or 365, whatever it is, subscription. And with that subscription, it offers storage in the Windows cloud. My question, since I love the Premier, I'm on the $29 Premier, we get the 2 terabyte family storage. Can you, with a Microsoft package, save your Microsoft Word and the Microsoft formats to the Apple cloud?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So she doesn't need to use the Windows cloud.
You're right. And so and then what it is you would park it in iCloud Drive, and you would do that on now she's using a PC or a Mac.
No, this would be her Apple iPad. She got the new Apple iPad 4 or Pro or whatever it is.
But so the subscriptions for that, she's still all Apple products.
Yes, all Apple products.
Yeah. So you get a certain amount of free space, I believe, with that Apple One Drive. But I think you could park it on the cloud, and then on the iPad you use the files folder.
Okay.
And that's where it would be. And she has a Mac too, right?
No, just me with the Mac. She has the iPhone Pro Max 12.
I would try it because I haven't done it from 365 on the iPad. You want to be able to try save it to, it's either called Files or iCloud Drive, and that would be better because then it's in there.
Good. All right. Thank you very much.
But yeah, if it's only a few docs and stuff, I wouldn't be too afraid of the OneDrive.
Okay.
Just don't want to pay for it.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Good.
Cool. Any other questions from anybody?
This is John Harden. I have a question, Ken.
Go ahead, John.
It's a simple question, I think. I'm a beginner at this. My iPhone 10, 4 days ago, stopped receiving and wouldn't allow me to send email. Is there some button?
Who's your email provider?
AT&T email
SBC
provider. Is that?
What's the last part of your email address?
AOL. Oh, AOL. .com. AOL.com.
Okay. And are you getting mail on other devices, just not the phone?
Yes, that's correct. I get it on my Mac Pro.
So usually the best path for that is to go into your settings and go to mail and delete that account and then re-add it back. It's not going to lose all your email. It's just going to lose it on that phone, but re-add the account. They probably changed some settings. And I would, just like SBC Global and Yahoo and all of that, I would go get make sure you start using an iCloud account or a Gmail account or a Proton Mail account, because AOL and Yahoo were all acquired by Verizon, and we've all known Verizon for their great customer service and how all the stuff they do. So I would not trust them with any of my digital assets.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'll give that a try. Appreciate it.
All right. Good luck. We had just had issues with SBC Global and AT&T Yahoo. It was just terrible. So any other questions before I end the meeting here? Al, thanks again, man.
It's all good. It's all good.
Take care. Dick, did you fix a lot of computers out in the lobby today?
Yeah, I wish.
You actually got to attend the meeting.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Actually, I forgot the first 20 minutes or so because I was watching Biden.
Oh,
but
we'll get the recap on that. All right,
yeah.
everybody, have a great one. The rest of the
how do I
family says
find
goodbye.
Al's list of links?
Do you have
if you go to the chat window,
Yes.
you can in the lower right, you can save it there.
Where it says file?
Yeah, or to the right of it, the three dots.
Three dots.
Yeah. Oh, the three dots. Oh, save chat. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and that'll save it in your Zoom window, but we'll put a PDF together for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Al. Good luck. Glad everything's okay on that.
Yeah.
Well done.